The time change has been a little crazy. Um, trying to get back in the swing of things with the time change. I had Dot here staying with me through yesterday, and then Sunday I set up a bed for my 3-year-old, and so he started sleeping in his own bed. So we've had and he's done really awesome with it. He's been sleeping mostly through the night and stuff. He's been co-sleeping with us for all this time.
Yeah, yeah.
So lots of changes, but things are starting to get back to normal.
How did it go with Dotton?
It went awesome. It was great to have him here. Was able to introduce him to some people and stuff here, and we spent a lot of time just talking about my dissertation and stuff. And I was able to jump on a call with a guy that I've been wanting to interview that he's connected to there in Nigeria that's been doing some like really awesome stuff. He has a IT company that he started, and just the short of it is they've taken over state government payroll in 8 states in Nigeria, and
Wow.
they've saved. I mean, there's one state specifically where they're doing like teacher payroll, school system, and government employees. And I think they, for the last 4 years, they've saved the state over $2 million a month for the last 4 years
Oh my
by
God.
identifying ghost workers, basically people that don't exist that were being paid on payrolls, and eliminating the ghost workers. And it's just crazy stuff like that they're working on. They're taking over tax collection in a number of different states because the money never makes it to the government. Whoever's collecting the taxes, like they collect. It's like the the New Testament tax collection system. Collect a little bit for themselves,
Yeah.
but then most of it doesn't make it to where it needs to go. So they've automated that process. They're automating processes in Nigeria that are still analog, and manual, and that's the introduction of technology can actually be, is a positive thing, and when done right is what they're discovering, because it eliminates fraud and embezzlement and corruption
Yeah.
at some of the highest levels. So anyways, I was able to interview this guy, and his idea was to start this company and then become a pastor, but he since then, and his and theology of work, being exposed to that, he's a BGU student now
Oh,
in
really?
the MBA program, but he's self-professed. He's not a good student because he's doing all this other stuff. But he realizes this is what the Lord's work looks like in Nigeria right now.
Wow.
So pretty cool.
That must have been a fascinating interview.
Yeah, I've got it recorded,
Okay, great.
so it'll be included in my research and stuff. So
What else did you talk about with your dissertation? Did you guys like a good path forward, or you make some progress?
Yeah, I think so. Just being able to clarify kind of the direction I'm going. One of the things that I was, just clarifying, like what I had called my paper was intentional intervention and intentional transition of human systems and chaos, crisis, confusion, conflict. And so to try to be more concise, we determined that really chaos is the kind of umbrella term, and confusion, crisis, conflict, these are symptoms, or these flow out of chaos, and chaos being the sort of opposite of, or not, I don't know about opposite, but human flourishing being the goal, the objective, another way of talking about shalom. And that this idea of intervention is a type of intentional transition. So just being able to bring all that more concise, and then in my keywords part of my dissertation, being able to express, being able to articulate how I understand conflict as it relates to chaos or confusion or crisis, these things. And then we talked more about, I guess I can pull my notes up, but just about the idea of shalom being for, with, and between, or is it for, to, and between, or for, with, and between, and being able to think in these terms. Like, if I'm talking about a particular case study, or, are we talking about working toward human flourishing and creating an intentional transition for people? Is it with people, or is it between people? And being able to articulate that was a help. That was some clarity. There's a number of other things, but those are some examples of things that I was able to clarify that just give me a better framework, that I can carry throughout the writing process. I think trust was we kind of honed in on trust being, I know that's something that it seemed like Brad, when we all had that conversation with Brad, that he kind of honed in on. And so we were able to, talk more about trust and how, building trusting relationships is probably one of the key characteristics or success factors for a transformational leader who is going to, interject themselves into some sort of chaos. And the ability to work with people who aren't trustworthy, but still to be a trustworthy person, especially early on in creating that intentional transition. So I can remember my dad, he told me, he's kind of confided in me about this time in his ministry where he became the executive director of the Dakota Baptist Convention. So this, the Southern Baptist Convention, the state convention for the Dakotas. And he got there, and there was a guy on the staff who had been embezzling money, had been having an affair with someone in the office. I mean, like a lot of different things that this guy was doing. And he didn't want my dad to find out, right? This guy, I think, thought that he was going to become the executive director. He was kind of functioning as the interim, and but he didn't get the role for whatever reason. So then my dad comes in, and he does, this guy, he's going to have to cover his tracks or what, there's because the first thing my dad does is start reviewing the books, and just he's coming in, he's fresh, and he wants to see what's going on, right? And starts to see things that are off, and they're not right. And so this guy starts taking actions to cover his tracks and create deflections and detours and stuff. Anyways, it gets to the point that he like even poisons my dad's coffee.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and most people in the Dakotas don't, especially during that time, had no clue all that was going on, but all that stuff could have ruined Southern Baptist work in the Dakotas had it gone into the media and things like that, as much money as this guy had taken and just different things he had done, and they were able to basically settle in a way that allowed him to not, allowed it to not go to press. But just when that's an example of in my own family, where you're interjecting yourself into something, and then you realize there's not trustworthy people here, and then you have to work with them for a time to try to move things forward, so
Wow.
anyways, I feel a lot more confident in my ability to get this thing done, having Dot here, and just being inspirational and helping me think through some of these things and clarify for myself. I'm better when I'm able to externally process something, it's like the ideas are just there, kind of just under the surface. And then when I'm just talking it out, I'm able to grab them,
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's good. It sounds like you're on the right track, and you won't be short on case studies, I'm sure, with different businesses and organizations
yes.
that you write about.
Yeah, so many things are in transition and flux right now in our nation and around the world. Um, if I can just capture that, in a way, in a simple way that adds something of value, I think this could be good for me, to be able to write this.
Great.
So, um, what did you think about these emails? Have you seen the emails that have been sent out from CCDA, main office?
Chaos and transitional. Yeah, I mean, what a crazy situation.
Yeah,
I just am so perplexed that they have so many amazing leaders on that board, and uh, how things played out.
yeah, yeah,
Especially if they got his resignation before the conference and just took all that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just so interesting to me. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy that there's hopefully not going to be a toxic leadership situation there in the organization,
yeah,
and hopefully there will be reconciliation, and also just really, it's like sitting back and eating popcorn and watching just something crazy happen, and
yes.
so
I mean, there's lots of practitioners, like yourself and others who, have a higher capacity. Our leaders and organizations have had, maybe encountered things, the equivalent type situations but then there's a lot of people who, you know, they've never, they are aware like something wasn't right, and so
yeah,
it hurts the trust factor in the organization when you have people from all over the place that maybe at one point they were clients of the organization and now they're there as a friend or a coworker, an employee, but they've never seen this kind of thing, got a behind the scenes look at an organization, and or you have millennials, who
yeah,
who just don't have the experience yet, um, I even wondered about some of the young people I interviewed. Of the 6 people I interviewed, I would have liked to have gone back to them, and I may even reach out to them and and see if they would say anything different, after or what they thought, just people who have never seen anything like that, a behind the scenes look. It's interesting. I don't know if it will. I wonder if it will. People just, oh, they're taking care of that. Somebody's doing something about that.
yeah,
Or if people are like, well, I don't know about this organization. Maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was, or something like that.
yeah. Well, the contrast for me was really interesting because I told you I went to Lawndale the next day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting because I've read books about Lawndale and I've heard about it, and and so I was just a part of me after like this really intense stretch I'm in, just like almost didn't want to go and see, just wanted to hang back with you and chill for a day and just
Yeah.
think about stuff. But I went, and man, they must have had, I mean, at least 400 or 500 people go to that, and so I didn't even realize it was that big. But my point is, seeing it's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. They literally took over like a whole neighborhood, and they have like
Wow.
they built a hospital and a health center and all these homeless shelter and a transitional house, and it's all like none of it is cutting any corners. It's all just amazing, and you see it coming out of this little church.
Mm.
And Wayne Gordon, I mean, you hear him talk about the principles, but when you see it up close, it's just
Mm.
like this remarkable thing. And so he was kind of sharing. But the reason it stood out to me is I contrasted that with the really vague announcement that he made on the first day of the conference with the board president.
Mm-hmm.
It came out and just like, we apologize in general for the general things that may or may not have happened. We apologize and repent and lament with you, and then they kind of left the stage. I was just comparing that, and all of us as leaders, like we mess up sometimes, and we don't, especially in crisis situations,
Yes.
things property, and the board Wayne and the board are such good leaders. That's why I'm saying it's like you see, here's all these outcomes, and it wasn't just Wayne. It was hardly even a Wayne show. It was at Lawndale. It was like I was meeting all these people of color at all these locations we went that were leading those facilities. I mean, clearly he's raising up leaders like crazy over the last 30 years. And his leadership gift to build up people in the neighborhood. And so, yeah, I just thought it was fascinating contrasting all that I saw on the Go and See with like the kind of the craziness at the actual conference. And so I'm still kind of, I think you're right. I think people who have been tracking with them for a long time are just a little bit perplexed. And, like how did it even get to that point at the national conference where where things are publicly like playing out in front of 4,000 people? That was just pretty fascinating to me.
I agree. I'm just making a note here.
Yeah, no, it was good. So I just say like Michael, I think I don't know if I introduced my friend Michael. I led the workshop with him there.
Yeah, I wasn't able to meet him, I don't think.
He's one of the board members. So
yeah.
I was emailing him back and forth a little bit less yesterday. Like, dude, you didn't even tell me all this was going on. They were all just really. I think they generally did want to happen what they wrote in the letter, which is they wanted it to be focused on Dr. Perkins and celebrating 30 years.
Yeah.
Public thing with Noel. So again, then part of me that just, I just told him I was praying for him, and I have several other friends on the board that must be like a really. Now they're just kind of in it, trying to figure out what to do. So.
Yeah, everyone on the board is. It's not like it's a paid board, is what I'm assuming. So like everyone has, 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks probably that they're doing. I'm just making an assumption. And then there's this, in a time of, confusion and conflict, they're kind of like called into service, called up to service. It's like they're part of the National Guard or something, and now all of a sudden they gotta leave their families behind, and they're deployed all of a sudden, for a season, for a time, where they're putting in extra hours and
that's
all
great.
that.
That's a really good way of putting it. Because I know they're all capable leaders, so that was the contrast I was making. Nobody's perfect, and collectively, you probably helped out with some board leadership in the past on some things. Right?
Yeah.
Like it can be out of sight, out of mind until a crisis happens or.
Yes. Yes. Just a matter of follow-up. I wasn't, after the conference, I wasn't sure if Anna was gonna follow up with me, with the names and things like that, because it's, her dad is kind of who this is all about, and so she was able to send me like, let's just say like 10 or 12 names, and then said the rest would be on the way as she finishes collecting everything. So I have, a email address, names, and of several people to follow up with. So even if I just added, let's say there's 10, if I added the 6 I've already interviewed, like even, I'm at like probably halfway there. So the thing where I'm at right now with the interview process is just kind of finalizing that survey so that I only have, so it's perfect when I send it out, so that there's no confusion or questions about why am I getting this, or what is this, or how do I answer these questions. So I'm just kind of trying to perfect that on my end, and then I'm going to run that by you, obviously, before I send that out to anybody, and I'll run it by Anna first also, and then I'll send those out. So my goal is to get it done by middle of next week, to have it sent out by middle of next week.
Okay.
I don't want to wait too long, and I want people kind of still, coming down from the conference, getting back in the swing of things, for that to be on their heart and mind, and then to receive the survey. So.
Yeah, I was just looking at, we have I think might be our last Zoom setup for next week. So if you want to, oh, that's actually Thursday, so you might have it out by then. But if you wanted to touch base, if you want a whole week to work on it,
Yeah, maybe we should just review that on Thursday and kind of make that kind of the major part of our time together,
that sounds
and
good.
then I could send it out from there.
And in the meantime, are those 10 to 12 names that Anna sent you, in addition to the 6 names that you interviewed while you were,
Yes,
so you would be up to
like
16 to 18.
16 or 18. Yeah.
And then one thing just to consider, maybe you follow up with coffee one more time. Say, hey, thanks for making those connections. Now that you're probably back and clearing your mind a little bit, I'd love to get like 10 more. Not even related to her. There might be other organizations that she could point you toward.
Okay.
Just a suggestion. We could also, again, I don't know.
Did you tell me that her husband is on the board also?
Yeah, her husband Rudy's on the board for CC.
Okay.
So he might have some connections or ideas as well.
Cool.
I'm just trying to think how to help you get up to 30 since that was your goal.
Yes.
You could email Patricia, because she had those 50 leaders from Cleveland. I'm sure she had some in their 20s that experienced the conference. You might get 10 that way or something. She could just look at her spreadsheet real quick and just send it your way. And so there's a couple.
Can you send me her email address? Okay. And coffees, I guess, because I don't think, I have her cell number, so I could just reach out to her by cell too. But
okay. All right, so Hotmail.
One of the things Anna included is the person who referred the emerging leader. So, which is good because I can specifically reference that person, which might hold a little bit more weight.
Yeah. So you'll be putting these questions together, and we'll finalize the survey next week.
Yes.
I can't multitask, so I'll just email you these afterwards.
That's fine. No worries.
So that'll be good. Between now and next Thursday, while you're working on getting the survey questions finalized, we'll try to get you up to 30 names. We're going to start with Coffee and Patricia.
Okay.
And if you're still kind of stuck, I could send a personal email copying you to a few of the other board members and see if maybe they have some names they could send our way.
Okay.
Let's just hold off on that. And
sure.
I don't want you to get overwhelmed or overwhelm them with everything they're going through. That's
sure.
That you have who who recommended them as well. So that'll be.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. I think I think that the questions I've been asking, I think will just remain the same. I just have to put them into a more of a survey format. What I'm thinking, I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but I'm going to do some multiple choice and some optional questions where people can do a more long form answer.
Oh, great. Yep.
So I'm going to take a both and approach there instead of just one or the other.
That's great. And then that'll give you some time. We'll have our last Zoom next week, and then that'll just give you some time just to focus in. And like I told you, I'm available. We'll have Thanksgiving and everything coming after that. I'm sure you'll be with your family and and then heading into the holidays, everything going on with the church. I'm sure you'll be pretty busy. But if you need to set up another Zoom or another time to connect, I'm happy to.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
Anything else help you along with, or do you feel like you're in good shape?
I feel like I'm in good shape. I'm taking some days off, starting. Basically, I've got like 18 days that I'm going to take off between now and the end of December, and then the holidays are in there too. So I'm gonna, obviously I'll be wrapping up this project, and then also trying to get the first full draft of my dissertation done. So
And having a baby.
yeah, and a baby, and I don't know. There's probably some other things I've subconsciously tuned out. Like they're like so far down the list. Um, so I've got my work cut out for me, but I think by being able to get these interviews, like that's going to provide a lot of the content, and then me writing around what's said, what the responses that come back, and then kind of curating those and reflecting on what's said and all that good stuff. So I think it's I don't think it's not something that's creating anxiety for me or anything, this part. So
Yeah, the
I
main
just got to sit down and do it.
yeah, the main thing is like we've talked about a lot is you're going to do this one time in your life, and you're at this
Hmm.
important juncture, and so the enemy is going to throw every distraction and everything at you to try to get you off, because this could build the next 10, 20 years of your career.
Yeah,
Not to be overly dramatic about it, but I mean,
sure.
so and the deliverable for CCDA is going to be, it could be it could be crappy, or it could be something that
Mhm.
really, they that will be meaningful for them and kind of capture a lot of the great work that they're doing. So I'm
Yeah.
praying for you, man. Not in a
Okay.
cheesy way. I'll really be praying for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Why don't I wrap us up unless you need anything else? I don't want to keep.
Nah, no, we're good for today.
All right. God, thank you for Zach and for his heart for these projects and everything he has going on in his life. I do pray for that, God, that you would just provide, just be his shield right now. Just protect him and his time and his family and all the projects that he has going work wise. But God, I pray for this time, especially for these 18 days, that when he wakes up each day, that your spirit would just give him the words, give him the passion, give him the heart
Yeah.
to pour out this dissertation. It's in his heart, it's in his mind, just needs to come out on
Mm.
paper. Same thing for this class project, for these survey questions. We pray for clarity. We do pray for CCDA, God, as they're going through it right now. And again, out of chaos can come something beautiful. So I pray that you would
Mm.
do what you do, which is redeem circumstances to bring about something beautiful in CCDA, and that they'll come out the other side of this crisis even stronger
Yeah.
and the great work that they do. So we ask all of this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. I appreciate you, Brian. Have an awesome week.
See you later.
All right. Bye.